here is an actual review of our company on a popular home design website. Anonymous Glass and Mirror Inc. damaged my new countertop. They denied it and blamed the other workers on the project. The team was dysfunctional, performed sloppy work, and was in a hurry to leave. I was disappointed in their lack of professionalism, transparency, and conscientiousness. Now, I know who made this comment because I was there, and this all could have been avoided if it wasn't for the lead mechanic's behavior. My name is Nick Smoke, and I am a helper. I have identified a major issue at AGM, and it's the hostile work environment. And my recommendation is to implement a progressive discipline policy to address the lead mechanic's behavior. So, in this presentation, I will discuss evidence supporting my recommendation. I will also present a counter argument and a rebuttal to the counter argument, and then finish out with closing remarks. My first reason for implementing a progressive discipline policy is that it shows that management is committed to a fair workplace environment. So number one, it sets clear expectations. So when employees know what is expected of them and know the consequences, if anyone steps out of line, it can easily be solved. And then in this way, that just creates an environment that is fair and everyone knows what their conduct should be. Second, it allows the lead mechanic in this situation to bring up his side of the story and to address his conduct. What that does is opens a discussion, and that allows all stakeholders involved in this situation to be part of the solution. Secondly, implementing a progressive discipline policy is more cost effective than firing the lead mechanic and hiring a new employee. So, the Society for Human Resource Management estimates that it costs almost $5,000 in initial hiring costs. Furthermore, over time, it can cost 3 to 4 times as much as the employee's salary altogether with hiring costs when you factor in the salary, recruiting, training, and also lost productivity and time to support the new employee. And then third is, it is more productive to implement a progressive discipline policy rather than to fire the employee and hire a new one. So, new employees can do about 42% of what their predecessors can do. That's going to leave a huge skills gap that we're going to need to fill. Number two, new employees lose about 200 hours of productive time with trial and error, asking questions, and just things overall with their learning curve. And then next is, it can take up to 44 days to hire a new employee. If you take all that together, that is a lot of time that we lose productivity, and that is factored into the overall costs. These costs and the loss of productivity will not happen if we implement a progressive discipline policy. So the counter argument is that it will allow the problem to continue because harsh consequences will not be imposed up front. But my rebuttal to that argument is that at this point, the lead mechanic has not been held to account for anything. And if management really lays out clear consequences, is committed to holding him accountable, and communicates that with him, the behavior will change immediately if he knows that his job is on the line. So, closing remarks. implementing a progressive discipline policy is going to show that management is committed to a fair workplace, and it is more cost effective and productive to do so. By management's fair approach to solving problems and their commitment to conserve resources, number one, it's going to build a cohesive workplace. It's going to show that they're committed to a fair workplace environment and building a teamwork culture, and that will set the company up for future success. So thank you so much. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Alright, Nick. So you mentioned that implementing a disciplinary program would not alleviate the problem. What did you mean by that? Like in your counter argument?
So basically, if you don't have harsh enough consequences up front, just saying, hey, look, we're going to give you a warning, but these are the things that we're going to do, the person might not take it seriously and just continue because they didn't get any consequences up front. That's what I mean by that.
Okay, thank you.
Cedric?
Now, to piggyback off that, don't you think that having these harsh, reprimanding your clients, or not your clients, your employees harshly, don't you think that would cause them to later on be scared to, mess up, which would end up causing them to mess up?
Right, so the point of the progressive discipline policy is not to be harsh up front, but just to communicate, like, look, these are the consequences, and as you go along, the consequences will get worse, but the whole point of the discipline policy is just to avoid being harsh. And what I mean by harsh is like firing the person,
Yeah.
so that's why I think this is important.
So how would you guys implement that in a way where it's understood, but people aren't feared of messing up?
Right, so the first thing to do is it would be a discussion. And that discussion will say, these are the expectations and these are the consequences. And, number one, warning. Number two, suspension. Number three, if it keeps persisting, firing. If you're deliberately doing things that you're not supposed to, that is going to be an issue. If you're trying your hardest and you're, not deliberately messing up, we'll work with you. So that's kind of what I meant by it opens a discussion. It's not just like we're just gonna drop the hammer hard on you. It's that we're gonna open this discussion and we are all going to, in a diplomatic way, solve the problem. Yeah.
I just have a question about you said it was the lead mechanic, like the head mechanic.
Yes.
Does he kind of get away with it just because he's been there for a long time, or is it just kind of like how it's run?
Yes, he's been there for a long time. He is very good at what he does, very knowledgeable. The company really relies on him, and management just it's just like, hey, you're a helper, you got to deal with him. That's kind of the culture at the company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks very much. Lauren, you're up next.
Oh, I am.
How you
Yeah,
stop
you are.
this?
Do you have your, I don't know if I have your slides.
It's the bottom one to stop.
Let me see.
I don't want to mess it up.
Actually, I think it's this one.
Yeah.